So in today's video, I want to talk about some of the nightly traditions I got to experience on my recent trip to Belmonte, Spain for the IMCF World Championships. For those who are new to the channel, or maybe haven't been following as much recently, I just came back about a month ago from the IMCF World Championships in Belmonte, Spain, where I was part of Team USA. I'm actually wearing the Team USA shirt here. My team, within all of Team USA, the men's 5-on-5, the men's 16-on-16, we took gold in both of those. USA medaled in a bunch of different categories, did a fantastic job, but it was an incredible experience. Not just the tournament and the event and the fighting, which was all absolutely wonderful, getting to compete against different teams, but I also got to experience a few traditions and things that I've heard about or that I kind of knew as common knowledge in the fighting community, in the armored combat Bohurt community. And it was really amazing. So I wanted to talk about those and just share my experiences and share some of the things that you might look forward to if you ever go to an international tournament or to a big event like that. So the first one we're going to talk about is obviously, just like any tournament, you get medals. So, we won our gold medals in those two events. I'm going to take the gold home. That's pretty much any sport. So I talked about that a little before, but that's just a tradition of sports. What was unique about armored combat is some of the things that we do, or I got to experience as part of this large event. And the first one is the trading of tabards. So I've actually heard about this, never experienced it, but we all had our USA tabards or jerseys essentially in a different sport. At the end of the tournament, a lot of people would trade their tabards with another country. Now we fought Spain in both the finals for the 5s and the 16s that I was on. And there was one particular Spanish fighter who's honestly a name I didn't get. He was a big guy with a polearm, and he beat me up a lot in the very last round of the 16s. It's a very tough fight. He was probably one of the hardest hitters that I experienced, and just a scary guy out there. So at the end of it, I found him, and he kind of found me, and we kind of can communicate. I don't speak Spanish at all, but I asked about trading his tabard, pointed he got it, and we agreed. So I'll put a picture of it here in a minute, but so this is the Spanish tabard. So I traded my USA for his Spanish one. And this is just a really cool thing. It's gonna be a memento of this event forever. I know some fighters who traded tabards with different teams did it with either their finalist team, like Spain. Some people did it, I know a Mexican team, because they had great camaraderie and just like they had a relationship, so they wanted to trade it. But Germany, which was really nice group of guys who we kind of got to know and communicate with us, and so we traded tabards with them, which is kind of a really cool thing of giving your USA tabard to someone else and them taking yours home. I heard through the Spanish team that apparently my tabard is hanging in their clubhouse now, and that's just awesome. It's going to be there. It's kind of a memento, right? Many people who took these tabards home, some of them will be fighting in them. They just use them, right? It's kind of a remembrance. I'm going to be hanging this up in this room, actually, probably up on the back wall there once it's finished, kind of as a little tabard, a little like a tapestry almost. So a memento of the fight, and it's going to be there forever as a remembrance for me. So just a really cool thing to have heard about and to experience, and now take this home with me as my own personal souvenir of the guy who hit me a whole bunch in our final fight. So that's kind of a universal tradition, I think, amongst many teams. The next one, we're going to talk about a USA team tradition. So, and again, I'm giving the lore as I understand it, just like most myths and lore. I'm sure I'm getting a little bit wrong, and it's going to change over time, which makes it even cooler in my opinion. My understanding is the first USA team that went overseas, the original team, they were knighted at the event, right? And since then, those original people have, anytime a USA team has gone overseas, to an IMCF event in particular, but I think any overseas large world championship, they have earned the right to be knighted. And there was a ceremony at the end where all of the US fighters lined up at our camp. It must have been a quarter mile, maybe, I don't really good distances, maybe a half mile walk, up out of our camp, up the big hill, down through the, the festival, to the foot of the castles, in this huge set of stairs up the castles. This is after we've been fighting for 4 days. Everyone's exhausted. Actually, we had one fighter who was still in armor who was stumbling. We had to help carry him up it. And you get to the top, and there's a ceremony where you line up, and all of the current knights, people who have been overseas and been knighted, go up front, and you have the option to line up in front of your knight and be knighted into an order called the Order of the Drawn Sword. So what that does, it's kind of just a tradition. We're all now part of this brotherhood of people who have gone overseas together and competed and worked together for Team USA. So that was really cool. And part of that tradition is the earning of your white belt. So the white belt in our sport has symbolized that you have gone overseas on a big quest. Again, the tradition, from my understanding, is that when knights went on a crusade, they were given a white belt as a kind of a relic or a good luck charm, or to say that they've gone on that quest. So this is our quest belt. So my captain for my local team, he got the white belts for our team and gave them to us. So some people got their white belts right there. Some people have the right to wear the white belt. They can go buy their own. I could get a different one. It's not this particular belt, but it's just a symbol that we did the thing, right? That said, I'm sure there are some fighters who just wear a white belt in America and they haven't been overseas and no one's going to hold them accountable to it. It's a tradition. It's not a law, but it meant a lot to me. It was a very emotional experience being there with the original, two of the original fighters for the very first team, as well as everyone who's been knighted in succession after that. So if I go back overseas, I will have the opportunity now to be up front and someone can line up in front of me and I can knight them. Just a really cool thing to be part of, and kind of a goal to get knighted. So that has now happened, and that's pretty awesome. Moving down from, again, we've gone from an overall sport tradition of tabards to a USA tradition. Now I'm going to go to an executioner tradition. So I fight for the executioners. The executioners are out of the Knights Hall. And I shall go with the Knights Hall tradition first. There's a Knights Hall tradition. Knights Hall is my school. There's a Knights Hall tradition, which is once you've gone overseas and you fought at one of these big tournaments, you've gone on an international journey and really committed to it and things, you've earned the right to have the Deeds Not Words slogan as a tattoo if you so choose. Now, obviously, some people don't like tattoos, but a lot of us have them. I've got a few. And I've been waiting 5 years for this. This is a big deal for me. So I'm going to be getting later on this month my tattoo that says Deeds Not Words. That's the slogan for our school, the commitment to doing the thing, right? And to me, this is a really big deal. I've worked very hard to be able to do something like this and to put in the work, right? So I'll be getting the Deeds Not Words tattoo, and anyone who went overseas with us can get that. They've now gone on that journey. So whether they were, on the USA team or they've, with support with it, or they won a medal, doesn't matter. If you're part of that group, you can get that you've done the deed, right? So Deeds Not Words. So moving down even more specialized, we've gone from international to USA to the Knights Hall, which is my local school, to the Executioners, which is the team that I compete on. The Executioners are the New England regional team, or like the travel team, the top team in our area, whatever you want to call it. We're the ones that go around the country generally fighting for right to be on Team USA or winning events or trying to win medals at other large events, right? That's the big team, right? So I'm on the Executioners. It's our big team. And we have a tradition in the Executioners called Earning Your Hood. And I will put a picture up here in just a second of that hood. So what happens is you can earn your executioner hood as part of this team. And what I really liked about this is there's no specific way to earn it. It's not like you do this thing, you get it. The hood symbolizes a commitment to the team and that you've put in the effort, that you've bled for the team, that you've worked hard, and that you've kind of shown your worth is the best way I can describe it. Another way of saying is like regionally, you're now a named man. You're like a known person. You've put in that time. And what happened for me, my hood's still being made. I don't have like my actual one because as we were progressing up to the castle to get knighted, my captain, Kat, I had a hat on. He took my hat off. He said, "Wear this," and he put the hood over my head. And I didn't know what it was. And it's this heavy wool hood. It was actually very hot. I was dripping sweat by the time I got there. It almost felt like a burden to carry, which I really actually appreciated. That it kind of felt cumbersome and hard. But it's a black hood, and I earned that hood for the work I've put in, the commitment I've done, the traveling I've done, the fighting, the training, being part of the team, and being someone that, I guess, again, I'm not making this decision, but that the team can rely on and be one of those like named men, right? Is the best way I got it. So like I'm now one of that. It's not like I'm just on the team. I'm an executioner, and in my opinion, I'll always be an executioner. Someday I'll stop fighting, I'm sure. Someday I'll retire, do something else. Maybe I'll coach. Maybe who knows what I'll do. But I'll always have that moment, and that to me was wildly emotional. To have just won 2 gold medals, have just traded my tabard, to be walking up to this beautiful castle for a knighting ceremony, and have my captain put the hood on me and say like, you made it. So that was a lot in essentially like an hour and a half, right? This was like 4 big traditions. And then I said the last one's a deeds not word tattoo, which I still have to get. But these are some of the things that I like about this community, I like about this sport, is we have these things that you can do to show that you've been part of the journey. You've been part of the adventure. You've made a life of adventuring and doing something unique that most people don't get to do. And some of them are very results based, right? Like, you don't get a medal if you don't win a medal. Okay, right? You don't get I don't get your hood unless your team has decided you've earned the hood. And like, that's very much usually like a results based or like a performance based. But the other ones are just doing the thing, right? So the deeds not words tattoo, you can do that because you've gone. That's it. That's all you got to do, right? You're knighting. You just have to fight. You've got to be on Team USA. You got to make the team, obviously, but you don't have to win, lose. You can have a great tournament, a bad tournament, but you've still gone and put yourself out there. Trading of tabards, same thing. It didn't matter how well I performed or didn't. If someone wanted to trade tabards with me, we could do that, right? Now, I went and specifically found the person I thought was the most challenging person I competed with. I wanted that memory, but I could have done it with any fighter that I met. Could have been, there was a couple of people on different teams that I kind of got to know, and I could have just been like, hey, I like you, let's trade tabards, and you still get that memory. So just a bunch of cool experiences, things I wanted to share with all of you. Something I hope that you can all experience some of those. Again, some of those are school-based and local-based to me, but I'm sure your teams will have something like that, or you can build something. None of the hood and the deeds not word tattoo, these aren't like written in scripture in stone. These are things that the Knights Home made up, 10 years ago or so, as a way to show that we're all part of this community. Your team can do that too. You can start a tradition. I heard about one really recently, actually driving, and I listened to a podcast, and I don't know what it was for, but they were talking about how, in cricket in Australia, when you make the national team, you get a hat that looks kind of like an Irish cap, but it's called a baggy green. So you may know this. I'd never heard it before, but a baggy green, it's a hat that you only get one. So you get this hat, you've earned it for making USA team, the Australian team, and then forever, as long as you're on the team and forever after that, that's your hat. And it gets raggedy and it gets worn, and the more worn it is, it shows the more you've been kind of competing and being part of the sport. And things like that, I just truly love. It inspires me. These are goals that I was able to set for myself. I had a specific goal, get knighted. I had a goal of like winning medals. I had a goal of earn my tattoo. I had a goal of, trade a tabard with somebody. And I had a goal of getting hooded, even though I didn't know how or when or why. I just knew if I worked hard enough and I did the right thing and I committed myself and I put myself in the right position to succeed, that eventually my team would recognize that. And I'd earn the right. And that's really what it's about to me. So it makes me part of a community in a more tight-knit way. Hopefully some of these things give a little more gravitas to the sport in some ways, and maybe even to my channel. So as I share things with you, I can say, hey, you're not just listening to some guy on the internet. I've done the things, I've won the medals, I've competed, I've earned stuff. And that's why I'm sharing my knowledge with you, the little bit that I have. So hopefully you can get better. You can join a team, or you can understand the sport, or you can someday experience some of these. Again, my name is Chuck. I'm the Woodchuck Knight. Please check out the link below to my shop. There's merch there. The hat I'm wearing, well, again, a little worn because I wear my hats all the time. You can get a hat, one of the Woodchuck Knight hats there. There's t-shirts and other things. There's going to be more stuff being added soon as we're expanding the shop, actually. So like, subscribe, follow, buy some merch. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great day.